Hello, and thank you for joining me here for another video. Today, I'm sorry if it's a bit noisy. I did need to get out of my house for this video. I thought this might be quieter or whatnot. And yeah, so this is where the video is gonna happen. So thank you for bearing with me. Okay, let's do it. No need to apologize. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I like how my face looks. My soft jaw, I thought I'd hate it. I kind of don't. Like would this. See, I can't even do it anymore. That'd be better. I always wonder. It's like potentially yes, but I kind of like my face. All right, let's start again. Hello, and thank you for joining me here for another video. I am surrounded, let's just say. Reja stuasteana. Rakua stua tehas kukurukusta swashua huru squerona squerokurakote quastuosi. Anyways. Hello, and thank you for joining me here for another video. Today I will just be, this is a different setting than usual. I'll just be in my car for this video, and that's just going to be fine. So I was thinking a lot about advice I had gotten when I just started getting into spirituality and connecting to my psychic gifts. And some of that advice definitely makes a lot of sense, but some of it I felt like it doesn't work for everybody, especially not somebody with like a busy mind like me. So I thought it would be a nice idea to share some of my tips and tricks I've learned for how to meditate and really channel when you have a really active, like noisy mind that you can't really shut off very easily. One of the pieces of advice that I'm going to focus on for this video that I'd heard all around, like lots of different corners, but whenever you'd be practicing your intuition, people would say it's the first thing you see. The first thing you see is beyond your ego, and then the rest of it, and then anything else after that is your brain. And I feel like the more you get into your spiritual gifts, the more you get into your spirituality, that definitely becomes true. Like if you know how to sink into the heart space, you know where to go in your body to receive and not project, then it is going to probably be the first thing. But if you're just starting out and you're not too confident about your abilities or your gifts, like you've never really done this before or not very successfully, and when people say it's the first thing you see, I don't think that works with people with predictive, noisy minds, because what my mind would do, and still does if I'm not like, trying to center myself, is that if someone asks, okay, what color am I projecting at you right now? And my brain is going to take that information. Then it's going to put it in through my brain as a code and then spit out a bunch of possibilities. That is not the same thing as intuitively receiving. People with noisy, predictive minds, I'll say, like maybe me, like me and maybe you, you have to learn how to kind of separate the information coming from your brain, or that your brain automatically wants to fill in. There's a question, so your brain is trying to answer it, is what I think is happening. So the way to kind of distance from that and get into a more receptive a more receptive space where you're not projecting answers but receiving them is not by trying to tell the mind, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. You can try that. You know, I'm all for trying whatever works for you. But I feel like when you do that, you put more focus on the mind instead of getting away from it. Like, the more you try and punish it and try and be like, don't do that, like, please don't do that, you're still focusing on what the mind is saying and not what the heart is receiving. So, what I would suggest to start, firstly, you should practice, but remember, when you practice, it's not about getting it right away. If you do, awesome. If not, like, you don't have to give up. It's not a big deal. Like, you're learning to work a muscle that you haven't ever worked for some of us. So it's like, you should be making mistakes, right? But basically, what I think is like probably more helpful is let your brain do whatever your brain is doing. Just let it run. Don't even try and be like, shut up, brain. Just let the brain brain. Brain will brain as it sees brain. Whatever. But what you do, and I've said this in various forms in other videos before, is you're probably going to receive easier and better when your consciousness, your awareness is in a different part of your body. Instead of thinking here what your ego up in your brain is narrating, if you try it, you let it do whatever it's doing, but try to bring your awareness lower down in the body. And it doesn't have to be a specific spot yet to start, but I usually like to sink down into the heart. That's kind of where I feel like I receive better, like when I'm at like totally zen, peace. At this point in my life, it's very no thoughts, head empty kind of space, and I like to sink down there, because then when the information that comes through in the space is clearly coming from somewhere else beyond my mind, which is a really good sign that you are receiving information and not projecting it. Another thing I want to say about practice is you're not gonna, as I said, you're probably not gonna get it right immediately. Maybe you do, because you've already had these psychic gifts and you're just trying to like reconnect to them. But please let yourself make a mistake. It doesn't make you a fraud if you're learning, you're open about learning, and that you are in a learning space, and then you make mistakes while trying to learn. Like, that's kind of the point, right? And something else I wanted to touch on with that is sinking out of the mind is also a practice, especially if you have like ADHD like me or something like that. It's hard, you know, like, I'm not trying to, I want you to know that it might take practice, so don't be discouraged. Speaking of practice, I would like you to do a really quick exercise with me, and remember, it's okay to get it wrong. If you get it wrong, it is totally fine, because what we're going to do is we're going to deconstruct the answer you received after this to figure out how you can maybe, where in the body or you can like receive, and how you can differentiate between the mind and the ego and receiving from the heart. Okay, so I am going to project and think a specific color. I'm going to think it in words. I'm going to visualize the color, and I'm going to do my very best to concentrate it and like send it your way to anyone watching this video, sending this color, this, you know, this frequency of this color. And I want you to pause the video if you need to. I'll give some time in the video as well once I do this. But take time to like, to see where you're receiving from. Like, see, first of all, try and receive what color it is from me. And then just hold on to the color, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So might as well get started. Okay, I am thinking of a color right now. So try and connect with me, try to connect with your heart space, your intuition, or lower in the body. I'm visualizing the color itself. And now I am visualizing the word, the name of the color. And now I am hearing the word spoken, speaking it in my mind. Pause here if you want to maybe connect with this a little more, but otherwise we can get into it. And yeah, please let me know what color you received if you feel comfortable, or just hold on to it and we'll just dissect everything. So the color I was thinking about was the color red. So if you did get it, congratulations, that's amazing. If you didn't, that is totally okay, because this is still gonna help us build these skills. So one thing I want you to think about is whether you got it right or wrong. Where in the body did you hear it? Was it in fact in the mind? Was it lower? Like, where was this coming from? Did you have to think about it? Or did you feel it? Did you know it? Did it kind of come through? Pay attention to where you felt like it was coming from, because if you got it wrong, that'll let you know that maybe that's not where you received from, and now you can be a little more familiar with what maybe like false channeling or ego channeling feels like, or I guess not necessarily compared to anything yet, but now you know what that feels like. So now you know what that feels like, you can identify it before you stick to it, and then you can start to move away from that and learn what another way of channeling is, which is through the soul, which is with that less so without the ego, like less of the ego involved. And if you got it right, amazing. Now you know what that feels like. Now you'll know when you're receiving, if it feels the same as it did this time. And that's really the point of practices and exercises like this. It's just, we want to get familiar with how it feels to either get it wrong or get it right. So thank you for participating. I really appreciate it. And yeah, that is all for the video. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful to have you. Thank you for participating. Let me know if there's any other topics or any videos you would like from me, whether it's meditations, soul language, what do I do here? Or just any spiritual topics you'd like to hear my take on. I am totally open to ideas and suggestions. So thank you so much for being here on this planet at this time, and I will see you in the next video.